The Separatist droid army was the lethal force behind the CIS. But what are the origins of this great army, and how did it come to be?
Assemble the fleets! The time to exact vengeance against the traitor Ventress has arrived! We go to Dathomir to battle!
Well, the CIS droid army is primarily built up of the combined armies of the Separatist ruling council, the Trade Federation, Techno Union, Commerce Guild, etc. But where did they get their armies from, and why do they have them? Now, you might be thinking, why do galactic megacorporations actually need a standing army? The Trade Federation, for example, they deal in trade agreements, largely between the Outer Rim and Core Worlds, and obviously they need security, pirates, thieves, raiders, etc. But endless swarms of battle droids, tanks, fleets of warships, it's a bit overkill. So, why do they need them? Well, the galaxy's very big, as were these organisations. Companies like the Trade Federation had countless establishments on countless worlds. For this reason, numbers are essential, simply to keep security at least. However, the real reason these companies had such huge forces was simply because they were allowed to. The Republic had really come to a standstill in the years before the Clone Wars. The Republic was little more than bickering bureaucracy, and the absence of a strong government to enforce regulations, the companies grew more and more powerful, and as they became more and more powerful, with nothing to stand in their way, they began to seek new ways of making money. Extortion and working their way around Republic laws and regulations. Blockading became a key method used by the companies to teach disobedient systems to accept their terms no matter how unfavourable they were. These militaries also proved very useful in other ways. When wanting to extract materials, build new facilities on distant worlds, and say there was a settlement in the way, once they start rolling tanks and droid hordes through, they quickly got their own way. Also, when systems accumulated mass amounts of debt, they would be forced to pay under fear that the corporation's militaries would come through on a brutal mission of seizing whatever they were owed, regardless of how the system fared. Now, the militaries began to grow too powerful that even when the Republic disagreed with them, the squabbling Senate would never unite to an extent that they could actually do anything. Remember, the Republic didn't have one army at this point, so realistically these megacorporations had armies that eclipsed the size of those individual systems who opposed them. A perfect example of this is the Senate's ineptitude to deal with the invasion of Naboo. In response to a tax increase on the space lanes, the Trade Federation attempted to blockade and invade Naboo by Sidison's instruction to strong-arm the Senate into dropping the tax increase. However, the Jedi did step in and was able to break it. But this highlights how even when a core world is under threat, the Senate still doesn't step in. The droid armies were too powerful, and that's why the companies had them. They allowed them to do as they please, overrule government and regulation with no consequence, and increase their profit margins. Over time, these huge companies continued to grow their militaries and become more and more bold in their actions to increase their profits under Dooku's patronage and his newly formed separatist movement. Ultimately, the droid army was a malignant force that caused great destruction on the galaxy, but its origins of an enforcer-like military were intended purely to increase profits of misering businessmen. But what do you think of the droid army? Please put your opinions below in the comments. Also, please like and sub for more Star Wars content and follow me on Twitter @TheLoreGuy for updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.